Hi, my name is Sidney Parish, and I have the honor of introducing Amy Kathawala. From her incredibly wise words in English and biology to her beautiful smile and contagious laugh, Amy never ceases to amaze me. Except that one time she sang every word to the Ripped His Pants song from SpongeBob. I never saw that coming. But besides that, Amy takes on life with such confidence that makes others look up to her, including me. I know for a fact that Amy has something brilliant to share with us today, so I give you Imrose Amy Kathawala.
As we sat around the dinner table, my parents, aunts, and uncles all reminisced about the times when they were kids, headed to the rooftops and terraces of their houses in India to fly kites. But this was no ordinary kite flying activity like what we know. In India, these were kite flying tournaments. The game was simple. The last kite flying wins. But here's the catch. Each kite had to cut down the other kites. And to do so, each kite string had small pieces of glass glued to it. That way, with one swoop, one kite string could cut another kite string. When one kite was cut, it would fall to the ground. But then on the street, there were kids who ran after the cut kites, trying to catch them before they hit the ground. These were the kite runners, and their goal was to catch fallen kites. There's something about these kite runners, something admirable. But it wasn't until junior year when we read Khaled Hosseini's Kite Runner that I truly fell in love with the idea of someone running your kite, running for you. While most of us are probably the type to stand on the terraces and rooftops flying the kites, we can't forget those kite runners responsible for catching the kites, our kites, when they get cut. Because if there's one thing I've experienced and witnessed time and time again, it is this. No matter how high you're flying, your kite will get cut. Everyone at some point takes a fall. And I know a lot of people probably felt that last night and feel it this morning. It feels like glass cut our string. And without a kite runner, who's going to catch our kites? Who's going to catch us? So here's my advice to you. While you all go through your time here and fly your kites high, do not forget to also be a kite runner. You can't expect someone to run your kite if you don't run some yourself. And you can't understand a kite runner unless you are one yourself. A kite runner is someone of the most sincere devotion that will literally catch you when you fall. You can't go through these years and never be a kite runner. You have to run for your friends and always run for your family. But that's a given. The real challenge is running for those kites that don't belong to people in our most closest and inner circles, but who need more kite runners than anyone else. Be a kite runner for those whose kites were never given the advantage to fly as high as yours. Run for those who can't afford to take flying lessons, like the lessons we are privileged to take here at St. Mary's and in college that will carry us and our kites to heights others dream of. Run for those whose kites can't seem to make it a few feet off the terrace before getting cut time and time again by stereotypes and prejudices out of their control. Run for those with holes in their kites, beaten down by circumstances we may never have to experience. Run for those who need a new roof to fly their kite from because their home was a tragedy of war and destruction. These people deserve to fly, and it's those of us in this room, those who can fly as high as we want, that have the biggest responsibility to be their kite runners. We cannot be so consumed with how high our kites can fly that we lose compassion and neglect to run for those that have no kite runners. Those suffering abroad or even down the street, fight for their rights, fight for their lives, run for them. I feel this, especially now, since as of last night's election results, we as a country did not run for those that suffer. We did not run for Zoya's grandmother, who is alone in Pakistan and wants to come to the US to be with her family. Her immigration here will now be so much harder for her family to endure. And Zoya, I'm sorry we didn't run for you. I also believe we did not run for my Muslim brothers and sisters who are not threats to anyone, but will suffer as such even more. We did not run for women. We did not run for so many groups of people. But that does not mean kite runners do not exist. That does not mean we cannot still be kite runners. Though I am heartbroken, I urge you all, do not shy away from this responsibility. As of last night, I feel we have taken so many steps backwards that now, as kite runners, we have to run twice as fast and twice as far. So step up, run. Be a kite runner so that when it's your turn to fly, you can trust those who run for you. If you're lucky, you'll have kite runners that will run for you 1,000 times over. Those are the kite runners that have and will always run for you unconditionally, to the point where they know almost exactly where your kite will land, and all they have to do is wait for it to drop in their hands. If you have those kite runners in your life, run for them, but also love them and thank them. So thank you, Mom and Dad, for being my first kite runners. Thank you to my teachers, who not only teach me how to fly, but who run for me and all of us every day. And lastly, thank you to my class of 2017 for being my devoted kite runners these past years. I hope you know that no matter what happens now, no matter where we go next year, you'll always have a kite runner right here. And those that hurt will always have a kite runner right here. For you, all of you, 1,000 times over. Thank you.